Hey everyone, just gonna give it a couple seconds. I'm going to talk about the adoption tax credit situation that's kind of playing out over the past couple days. Um, Basically, what's going on with this, and I just saw a post about it, and I'm like pretty fired up because I think that people see these headlines. Conservatives are just as guilty of it as liberals are. They see these headlines and they don't stop to do the research, or in a lot of cases, I think don't even really stop to read the article. So the whole situation with this adoption tax credit, basically the GOP is in the process of going through this tax reform plan, and it just came out in the past couple of days that one of the changes in the plan will be that a tax reform credit is being taken out of the current system. So that's a tax credit. I'm sorry, I'm saying this wrong. An adoption credit is being taken out of the current system. So an adoption credit is being changed within the tax system. It won't be an actual credit for adoption. And a lot of pro-life people are freaking out about this. They're saying that it's just another example of how the Trump administration is not pro-life the way that they say they are. And Trump's being criticized because, soon after this news came out, he put out a statement about adoption and how we want to promote adoption and how it's a good way to, discourage people from having abortions, things like that. So a lot of people are criticizing him. First of all, this is the way that I understand this adoption credit as playing out. And I want to be very clear about this because I think that there's a lot of misunderstanding about what's happening. First of all, this adoption tax credit that's currently in place it does not touch a lot of the people that would actually benefit from it. So it applies to a lot of higher income taxpayers. It doesn't actually touch a lot of the people that are low income or middle income that want to adopt or that receive children in the foster care system. It doesn't apply to people that are foster parents. So that's the other thing. The general goal of this tax reform that the GOP is doing is that they want to simplify the process. So as opposed to having all of these single individual tax credits that, people have to sift through in pages and pages and pages, and you never really get all the credits that you're necessarily applicable for, the GOP wants to reform that process so that it's more straightforward, it's more across the board, streamline things a little bit. And the unfortunate thing is that this adoption credit is falling under one of those very small, specific credits that they're removing from the system. So that being said, what they're actually doing, and I want to make sure I get it right, they're changing the family tax credit. So regardless of whether you have a child naturally in your own family or if you take in a foster child or adopt, you receive $600 more in addition to whatever the percentage would be for your family per child that's introduced into your family in this new family tax plan. In addition, the family deduction doubles, and it looks like a dramatic, quote, dramatic increase in the per child tax credit itself, unquote. So this is the way that Paul Ryan has explained this whole issue. So they're not removing the benefit that is there for families to adopt so much as they are broadening the net that will actually catch those people that it would apply to. But, in this point, I just want to point out, it really makes me crazy when I see these Christian conservatives on Facebook and other places that are accusing the administration of not being conservative enough or not being pro-life enough because there are things that they have not yet been able to do. This administration has done incredible things for the pro-life movement. Incredible things. They have defunded essentially all US dollars that ever went to international abortions have been defunded. So we've been removed from the UN Human Population Fund that was a major and continues to be a major funder of international abortions worldwide. This administration opened the door for states to defund Planned Parenthood through their state legislatures, which has opened up a lot of opportunities. I know Iowa did this. It's opened up a lot of opportunities for the states to actually go through that process and defund Planned Parenthood at the state level. And they did that early on because I think that they knew that defunding Planned Parenthood at the federal level would be, fundamentally impossible in the very beginning, at least. This is not a small battle that we're fighting here. And all of the things that we're seeing from this administration are the same reasons that we see state legislatures passing, abortions, illegalizing abortions before a certain term, things like that, as opposed to just in general across the board illegalizing abortion. You have to take the small victories. We can't just say we're going to be all or nothing, because if we were all or nothing, we wouldn't get anywhere. So I really would encourage pro-life Christians who have not who in some shape or form have felt like the things they've seen from this administration are not what they necessarily want. I would encourage you to look into that a little bit deeper. I mean, there's other things too. I mean, you know, the obvious example is Neil Gorsuch, and people say that, you know, his appointment to the Supreme Court, there's no guarantees that he would overturn Roe v. Wade. The thing that just cracks me up about that, the fact that a Supreme Court nominee was never, people were upset that a Supreme Court nominee was never on the record saying he would overturn Roe v. Wade. How do you think a Supreme Court nominee would pass the Senate where they would need liberal Democrats' votes? How do you think that would ever happen if this nominee had been on record saying that they would do probably the one thing the Democrats don't want them to do? I mean, amongst others, but the number one thing, you know. So I just think it really bothers me. I think that pro-life conservatives need to give the Trump administration a greater chance than we have, and I think that we need to take the victories that we've been given, and these other things, take them with a grain of salt and accept that this is kind of how the bureaucratic process works, that there's a lot of give and take, and there's, you know, some unfortunate losses, but there's a lot of victories that will, you know, give us the steps we need moving forward to get to the ultimate victory, which is ending abortion in this country for good.